If you feel that life is getting in the way, let it get in the way. If you feel like everything's going wrong, let it go wrong. If you're holding on to something that's hard to hold on to, let it go. If it wants to, it will fly back to you in the highest energy. If you want to change who you are, change how you feel inside. If you're not happy with life right now, accept where it is, move something forward through inspiration, not through force. Stop forcing anything. You don't need to force anything. What we're going to talk about today are 5 important points about the ascension that humanity is going through right now. And these points will really open something up for you. They'll start to open a new pathway for you, make you feel slightly different about some things. My intention is that when you finish this session, that you don't go away with the answers to everything, but you do go away with a greater understanding about who you are, why we're doing this, what we're here for, and why you chose to be here at this time. Okay, so let me just tell you something right now. What if you were a being from a higher density, maybe the 6th dimension? Just let me postulate with that. And what if you had to come here with amnesia to go through some lessons to evolve your consciousness so you could fully embody that 6th density being? So what would those tests and things be that you might have to go through? What would those things be that you might have to experience here on the Earth realm? Health problems, heartaches, issues, challenges, money worries, reputational damage. So what if all of those things were part of your divine upgrade? So what I wanted to talk about is this. We were told that history was a ladder. There is something called Darwin's theory of evolution, and actually the correct terminology is survival of the strongest. What I want to tell you is that Darwin, at the end of his life, he pretty much retracted the notion of this theory, that it didn't hold any weight. And whilst there was evidence of small evolution in small particles and smaller animals, it was pretty much dismissed that evolution was not how we got here. And then if you look into the work of Greg Braden and the work he did about the DNA that we have, that there was one event that happened very quickly, I think it was some 230,000 years ago, where our DNA just evolved instantly overnight, inexplicably evolved instantly overnight, and it was the mechanism that gave us conscious awareness. Well, that mechanism is so we can reflect back on ourselves. It's actually survival of the strongest, it's not survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest is a misquote, that's why I said it. So the world is not as it seems. We were told that history was a ladder. We were told that we were primitive to modern, linear progress, caveman to code. That's what we were told, and it's just simply not true. But the deeper you look, as we understand more of this convergence of science and spirituality that's happening, we start to understand that all of this was really a lie. It may have been the best information that we had at the time, but we are something way stranger than that. So what if I told you this? I'm going to propose a theory to you that you can take or not, you can feel into or not. What if everything's circular? Because I'll tell you one thing, nothing in the universe is still. Everything is moving all the time. There is an illusion of stillness. Even when you think you are still, it's an illusion. Basically, we go through cycles of evolution where we go up and down and up and down and round. If you look at Sri Yukteswar's interpretation of the yugas, the 26,000 year cycle that we're going through, we're currently fully into something called Dwapara Yuga, which is where humanity begins to understand energy, communication, and living from the heart space. So you've done this before, you've been here before, you've had these cycles before, you've been on this path before. The world we experience is not anything like what it seems. The stories we were taught, the history books, there's no truth. The truth doesn't shout, it gets revealed very quietly. And this is what we're spiraling into now. We're going into a new energy that's way beyond our comprehension. So what is happening right now on our planet is we're going through a purge of consciousness. And what's that purge? Well, for thousands and thousands of years, we've lived in 3rd density consciousness. And you can read this across all sorts of books, the Kabbalion, the Law of One, the Upanishads. We are evolving from third dimensional density consciousness into fourth dimension consciousness. We are absolutely not in Kali Yuga. If you read the proper interpretations, it was hijacked. To say that we're stuck in a dark age for 400,000 more years is not true. So these are the truths that we live in. Humanity has lived in the third density, which is a density of physical matter, which is a density of very grounded, anchored in reality like a stone. And it's evolving all the time. And we're now moving into the fourth density, which is the heart space, which is where we understand that everything comes from within as energy and frequency. And everything that happens in our life is a reflection of our internal state. The Kabbalion would call it the law of mentalism, that everything is mind. The law of one would call it the fourth density, the fourth ray chakra of consciousness. But we're very much moving into this heart space chakra. And the heart and mind have a coherent field together. And what we're also learning is that the brain is not a storage device for information, for knowledge, for things that we learn. Whilst it can be used for that, it is actually a receiver, and it is a conduit between the one consciousness, the allness of everything, and the experience that you have in your life. So we are very lucky that we have not been born into a neutral timeline. We've been born into a very disruptive timeline right now, where we're remembering who we are as you move back. Jesus was a ascended fourth density being who lived in the energy of the times in a fourth density vibration. So he lived purely from his heart. That's why the miracles were very easy to perform, because what Jesus understood was that the miracles were performed through him from source, God, consciousness. Me and my Father are one. The kingdom of heaven is within. That's really what that was. And if you look at things like the book of Enoch and the lost gospel of Thomas and the gospel of Mary and the gospel of Phillip, actually, those books really tell you a lot more about that. What we're in right now is not a simulation as in like a computer game, but we're in a cycle of the story changing as we start to live from our heart's chakra. So where history was rewritten in the past, all of the potential of humanity was completely diminished and downplayed, and the truth was buried under millennia of dogmatic, controlled structures. And we are just moving out of that now. And what we're all experiencing is very difficult because we've been trapped in this dualistic nature of being born into a world that's very dense, very controlled, and has been ruled by power for thousands of years. And the consciousness level of humanity was able at that point to be controlled, to be suppressed, to be pushed down. So yes, we have an existence, and that existence can be favorable, and we can enjoy our lives and we can have good things. But it has always kept us from the understanding that God is expressed through us as consciousness, and that we do not require a middleman or a middle deity or a middle thing to connect to that. And it's very interesting that all of the technologies that we have in our day-to-day lives that evolve, let's talk about blockchain technology, which we're not going to get into today, but what blockchain technology does, really, it can be used for anything, ledgers, money, everything. It removes the middleman. And that's what's happening energetically and spiritually. It's the same thing. Everything mirrors everything else. Everything in the cosmos is relationship. And once you begin to understand this, your whole life will change, because you begin to understand that you don't have to live by society's dictums, society's rules, society's structures. And I'm going to cover some points today that are going to really plug you into that energy so you can understand. Once you understand this, that you have all the power, once you understand that you have all the choice, once you understand that you have all the freedom, you just need to reclaim that, you will change your life immeasurably. Now, what the biggest thing to understand that underpins all of this is that your nervous system is the operating system of your connection to source. You have to bring it in to your body. So nothing's actually going wrong. And this is the hardest thing to resolve in the human condition. We feel like we're being persecuted, but we're not. It's all happening because as you feel the fear, as you process the fear, you evolve through it. And when you embody this into your self-concept, Me and the Father are one. The kingdom of heaven is within. Everything is me pushed out. You are consciousness expressed as matter. We have to move now into energetic sovereignty. So it was always cycles. We go through golden ages and then we fall into dark ages. You are incarnated at the exact time for your highest evolution. You are all in everything. So every great civilization, the Sumerians, the Kemet, the Vedics, India, the lost city of Atlantis, the Lemurians, these were all real civilizations. They rose to spiritual and technological heights beyond what we could comprehend today. There is absolutely no doubt that ancient structures in your city were built using things and ideas and inspiration, and there were master architects that could build in different ways that are beyond our comprehension today. But they fell. They fell, often not from war, but from frequency collapse, misusing the energy, using the energy for service to self, not service to others. And I believe that we're learning that lesson now. And the cosmic resets, I believe Tartaria is a psyop. I don't believe Tartaria is real. So you are not ahead of your ancestors. You are returning your soul to its rightful place right now. But we're doing it this time not from a selfish energy. We're doing it from a service to others energy, which is going to evolve and ascend our planet in a way we can't imagine. We're not building anything new right now. This is a revelation and a remembrance. You are both the echo and the evolution. It's both the same things. So when you feel weird feelings or deja vu or feel like you've been to a place before, there is a synergy and an energy that your consciousness has embodied that before. So let's take this to like a ground level. The pyramids were not tombs. We know this now. The structures that are being discovered underneath them, it's impossible to debunk. Like, there are sophisticated structures that are beyond our comprehension. They were inherited. The Egyptians inherited those structures from a greater civilization. The cathedrals were not churches. We know this. They were built on energetic ley lines, all connected around the earth, and they used energy. What for, we don't quite know. Was it for electricity or healing or both? The ancient temples were not spiritual places. They were not places of worship. They were places for energy. And they were all what I would call resonance chambers, because in Treta Yuga and Satya Yuga, we understood that energy could be harnessed from everything. And when we're in that heart space, we can open it up. Obelisks, domes, towers, these were all antennae for cosmic frequencies. Nobody truly knows what yet, but we will understand that. And these ancient builders were not primitive. They can't have been primitive. It's a literal impossibility to suggest that they were primitive. They were tuning in to the frequency of the earth. They were programming consciousness through space, sound, stone, and light. That was it. So they were harnessing higher levels of consciousness into matter. And what we're walking through right now is the ruins of that civilization, or those civilizations. And it's not dead. That energy is here. It's dormant. It's waiting for us. We're opening it up right now. And the best thing you can do to start to access this thing is open up your nervous system. Expand your nervous system, because the reason that your nervous system is so important is this, and I'm going to tell you. Your brain is the transmitter of what comes from the field of conscious awareness. That's why sometimes you feel anxiety and you're not sure why. But your body is the divine receiver of that frequency. They taught you that the body was a machine of blood and bones, a mechanism that took some time to evolve, millions of years. But we know some things that are facts now. Your heart emits an electromagnetic field that's 6-7 times stronger than your brain. You have energy within you that's way beyond your comprehension. And it's always, that's what manifestation is. It's your heart-brain coherence. Because as you become calmer, you regulate your nervous system, we are absolutely becoming more aligned with the field of conscious awareness. Your pineal gland, which has been proven to be there, and if you look at all of the symbolism with all of the ancient structures. The Vatican, it has the pine cone, the pineal gland pine cone is very symbolic. It's in all of the ancient scriptures. It produces something called dimethyltryptamine. If you've had a lot of dimethyltryptamine derived from tree or frog, you will understand that that connects you to another realm. You have that within you right now. And we were told as well through science, when you have to remember that we've not long discovered DNA, the ability to read it, absorb it, open it up, look at it. And the best we had is that 98% of your DNA doesn't work. It's junk DNA. So how can that be a thing? How can that possibly be? How can it be that 98% of the structure of who you are is junk? You have to understand that nothing is out of place in the universe. Everything is perfect in its imperfection. It means that you are ready to grow into a higher level of consciousness, because when your DNA expands and you take on your more strands of your DNA, it's the quantum code. It opens you up. Look at the structure of it, what it looks like. Look how defined it tunes you into new timelines, new environments, higher frequencies. But your nervous system is the pathway to this. You just need to regulate your nervous system. And ancient cultures knew this, and we are learning this now. The Egyptian teachings about breath, posture, activating the light body. The Vedic texts describe the body as a layered energy vehicle, kosher. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within you. This is what it meant. People have misunderstood what it meant, but that wisdom was rewritten, rehashed, and reinterpreted for control. The soul was removed from science. The ether, up until the early 1900s, the fifth element, the ether, was regarded as something, and it was dismissed from science because it was intangible. You couldn't measure it with a spirit level or a tape measure. So the truth is this: your body is not an obstacle. It's the antenna to your awakening, but you have to awaken it. So this is it. If you want to manifest a better life, you have to allow a better frequency to come in, which means you have to empty the vacuum of the things that are holding you back and calm your nervous system. When your nervous system is regulated, it remembers, and then your life changes through remembrance, not effort. Does that make sense? And when it's regulated, it remembers. It can access anything, what you might call the Akashic records. That is all that is. It's you regulating your nervous system and opening yourself up to something greater. The lost city of Atlantis was real. It's not a myth. It was written about in Greek philosophy as a literal place. It wasn't a Greek myth. It was a fable. It was a story about warning us about what not to do next time, because it's coming. It was one of many civilizations, not just Atlantis, that had advanced energy, free power, systems, consciousness-based architecture, think about that one, and global trade routes. And its fall was likely from misusing that technology. Funnily enough, hybridizing animals, trying to harness that energy for control and power, creating energetic dissonance with the field of consciousness. It created a global reset, a cataclysm. But the survivors of that, they didn't vanish. They seeded another ancient world. Look into Mesopotamia, look into ancient Ireland, look into places like that. The flood myth is through every culture. It's happened before. The sudden appearance of megalithic structures across the globe. The Indian government are suppressing civilizations under the sea. There's miles of it. Huge structures under the sea. And it's all to do with sacred geometry. The whole thing is to do with sacred geometry. But you can explore this on a granular level to understand it, to learn it, to submerge yourself in it more. But the truth is this: it's way simpler than that. You have to regulate your nervous system and calm yourself down. You have to practice non-reaction. You have to relax your jaw. You have to drop your shoulders. You have to come into awareness that, okay, what if this is all real? What if I am just a projection of consciousness? And what if the one thing that's keeping me trapped is fear, anxiety, distrust, resentment, hatred, guilt? And as a consequence of holding on to those things, my nervous system is completely frazzled, and there's no way for me to create a better life for myself while I'm holding on to those things. So do I keep myself in the prison of the past because I don't want to forgive others? Do I keep myself in the prison of the past because I don't want to forgive myself for the mistakes I made? Or do I decide that I understand that if I let go of those things, my nervous system will begin to recalibrate, and the 3D reality I experience as I begin to understand energy and especially magnetism, think about a magnet, the 3D reality will begin to upgrade itself for me in terms of synchronicities, opportunities, new adventures, better health, because all I'm doing is the work in my body. When you start to really understand that, then it gets interesting. So you carry that genetic memory in your soul, the memories of all the worlds, the memories of all the things, your gifts, your obsessions. They are not something you're trying to get from an external deity or a book or a seminar. They are echoes of what you have experienced and what you've once lived, both practically and spiritually and energetically. And they're calling for you now to rebuild and move yourself. And there's always a paradox happening. This is so important to understand. There was a hijack of consciousness that happened, but it only happens based on the collective consciousness of humanity. So the hijack was perfect. The idea that religion was edited was perfect for people's evolution because it created congruence. Science has been censored about magnetism, what we are, what this is. But you see, we had to feel that it was out of line and out of sync to go and explore it more, to expand through it. Education became indoctrination through control, through capitalism. But why? To drive people into a funnel where they understand that's not how to live. That's not how I should live. We were taught that we're sinners, that there is the subject-object paradigm, that everything's outside of me. We were taught all of these things. We were taught that we must obey, we must consume, we must conform. And what I want to tell you is every time the narrative shifts to suppress and control, we remember more. So you mustn't worry. Why? Because a self-remembering human with a regulated nervous system is unstoppable. As a sovereign being, you don't need permission to be who you are. And it's not about bucking against the system or going on protests or uprising against them. It's about claiming energetic sovereignty, that you no longer feed that machine. That's the most sovereign you can be. You no longer feed narratives, you no longer feed the machine. You understand that anything, be it left-leaning, right-leaning, polarizing this way, polarizing that way, is to suck you back into the matrix, to suck you back into the system. The story never matters. The narratives are always designed to suck your energy back in, and that's what it's all about. A sovereign being doesn't need permission to be in any conditions. A regulated nervous system doesn't obey fear. A connected heart does not fall for division. And it's so hard. I get caught in little traps myself. And I have these epiphanies and revelations. The truth has a pulse, and the pulse is getting stronger. It lives within the cracks. It lives in those magical moments where you have space in your heart and space in your mind to allow it to open up. And now it's rising. The pulse is getting stronger. You can't ignore it. Nothing can stop consciousness rising up. The time has come. And we will see that as a loss of what we knew and what we held true and what we held in the highest regard. But you're not waking up alone. The fourth density consciousness that we're all moving into is known as Christ consciousness, the second coming. That's where Jesus' energy operated from, where you'll understand how to keep yourself alive, where you'll understand how to make yourself vibrant, magnetic, perform miracles for yourself and others. But you have to live purely from the heart space. You cannot be held back by dogmatic systems, by fear, by anxiety, by control. And it doesn't matter what energy you're at right now, you can change it immediately. And you say, how can I change it immediately? Well, by rejecting everything that you're not. You don't have to buy the system, buy the narrative, buy the matrix. Doesn't matter where you are right now. And we're in this cycle now that we're being helped. And the help comes from consciousness, and it expresses itself in the simulation as, oh, the Schumann resonance is spiking. The sun is waking up. It is our consciousness that's waking the sun up. The Schumann resonance shows planetary coherence and activation because it's responding to our consciousness. Earth's magnetic poles are subtly shifting. Tides are reversing. That's not a random occurrence that's happening because of cyclical weather patterns. Funnily enough, ice age is going cycles. The Younger Dryas 12,000 years ago. Consciousness creates the disruption. That's what's happening. Weather's not happening because of the planet. It's all happening because of consciousness. A 17-mile hidden chamber was discovered under the Great Pyramid. These structures that go miles down with coiled metal around them, solar flares, UFO sightings, not random chaos. It's a manifestation of our consciousness because we're becoming ready. And the more you can step into this, the more you'll get it, the more you'll understand it. So what I want you to think about, everything you're seeing in the media about everything, there is some truth to it, but this is optics. It's being exaggerated and blown up to bring you back into their system. Divide and conquer. Your sovereignty, your ascension, your embodiment of fourth density consciousness comes from turning it all off and going within. I'll give you another thing, and I say this quite a lot. If this wasn't for you, you wouldn't be hearing this. Take this as your sign, but what's the sign? The sign is this. Everything that's happened in your life, the good, the bad, the disgusting, the ugly, the abuse, the suffering, the wins, the victories, the breakthroughs, has all brought you to this point. And now you are in this space of trying to remember fully who you are, by following teachers like myself, by following messages that are coming from a different energy and a different channel. So what do you do with that? This is basically us unpacking consciousness from a higher perspective and sharing that knowledge with each other in a profound way so we can all evolve our consciousness. Because if you guys go out in the world today and say, okay, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to operate from a position of, I'm good, everything's fine, everything is working out for me, my consciousness is going up, the systems of controlling our planet are being dismantled in the correct way based on the divine consciousness expressing itself. So what do I have to do? All I have to do in every moment is come back to center and say, what can I let go of in this moment? How can I become calmer in this moment? How can I evolve myself more in this moment? By neutralizing the things that are keeping me stuck in the energy and the vibration and the frequency that doesn't serve me. And that's it. Your reality is a mirror. So what then happens is you will begin to reflect back to yourself from your highest awareness, your higher self. Consciousness will notice and it will start to move the energy towards you based on your frequency. And when you move the energy towards you based on your new frequency, that's when your life begins to change. Not because you did anything other than the only control you have is how you feel. The whole entire system around us is designed to make you feel small, scared, insignificant, and irrelevant. That's it. It's designed to keep you stuck. When you unstick yourself and you say, whatever is happening in the world without ignorance, because it's okay to feel love and compassion, and it's okay to feel sad, but when you can start to understand that everything around you is a reflection of your level of consciousness. Raise your consciousness as high as you can so the solutions to the problems in your life and the world will meet you at the highest vibration possible. Does that make sense? Service to others means abundant. Getting selfish with a capital S means abundant. Getting true with yourself. Okay, so if you want to really take this to the next level, you should do nervous system mastery, where 7,500 people have changed their lives already. It's truly life-changing. That's my service to you. I'm going to give you a very accessible, inexpensive program that's going to change your life in a very short space of time. So the truth is this: you are an eternal reflection of consciousness. Change your life by changing how you feel. Something doesn't feel good, let it go. That's it. That's your only job. And as you do that and you begin to reflect back this new feeling within, just let the outside manifest itself. You either have complete faith and trust that you're guided divinely by God, or you have no faith. There's no middle ground. You have one problem, one solution. Raise your consciousness. You raise your consciousness as a consequence of that which you become, not as a consequence of that which you do. And when you become something new, that becomes manifest because of the conditional changes you made within yourself. And that's it. If you feel like the world's going wrong today, reject it. Choose differently. Make another choice today. If you feel that life is getting in the way, let it get in the way. If you feel like everything's going wrong, let it go wrong. If you're holding on to something that's hard to hold on to, let it go. If it wants to, it will fly back to you in the highest energy. If you want to change your life, change how you feel. If you want to change who you are, change how you feel inside. If you're not happy with life right now, accept where it is, move something forward through inspiration, not through force. Stop forcing anything. You don't need to force anything. The kingdom of heaven is within you. You've just covered it up. It's a rough diamond, and that's it. That's the only truth.